Ooh. And welcome to ohmTown Daily, Season 2, Episode 273 for September 30th, 2023. Tonight we're going to discuss the fact that the Las Vegas Sphere is awesome. Earthworms are easily the biggest contributors. Apple Pencile 3 with magnetic tips. And there's a typo in that title. I'll fix it. Smart glasses need to be stylish. Somebody else is saying it finally. Phone allows thief to steal gas at pump. How about the fastest dog sets world record, but questions hit the brakes. Antimatter observed falling. Suspended after police raid newspaper. Lower Decks is high in my ranking. And naturally in the red. Next on... Yeah, there's no audio component to that says ohmTown Daily, but that's what you're kind of listening to now, right? I mean, we're all in the right place, are we? Hello?
I think so. I'm here for the show. I don't know about you.
I'm just here so I don't get fined. So, all the articles are all set up, so let's knock them down. Let's get into this. It's Saturday. Oh my gosh, it's Saturday. It's 8 p.m. Saturday. Time is flying by. September 30th, 8 p.m. We're on the verge of kind of kicking the can down the road for 45 more days, right? Guess we'll just monitor that situation. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the news, so let's get into it. So, U2 decided to have a concert over at the Las Vegas Sphere. I think that's how you're supposed to pronounce that. Sphere. Stars pack U2 debut at Las Vegas Sphere. The article here says it doesn't happen often in Las Vegas, but the members of U2 were far from the most famous people in the venue Friday night. Legendary Irish band opened its U2 UV Achtung Baby. Why UV? Anyway, residency at the MSG Sphere. They're going to be staying at, I had no idea. Ooh, that's a hot
Yeah,
S
I didn't
there.
know it was a residency.
Wow. Okay. Man, this place. I wonder how... I know that it's like $100 to park in this place.
Yes, because that was in ohmTown, although we didn't do an
Decided not to
episode about
highlight
it. Right.
Yeah. But if you've never seen a demonstration of what the Sphere does, oh my God, you need to go and check it out. Inside and outside are LED panels. The whole thing is wrapped in it, and it's basically the equivalent of a high resolution LED panel. Not like a normal board where you walk up to it and you can see everything, like just, oh, you lose the entire resolution. You can be apparently pretty close up and you still see what's going on in this thing. And inside it's even better. I watched a quick scene where U2 was about to start, and the video is recorded from like in the nosebleed section where you have to bring in your own oxygen tanks, otherwise you'll pass out. And the way that the roof is sloped, it actually curves up towards you. It's not a big sphere inside because there's office space and other stuff inside, conference rooms and like halls and stuff, my understanding is. But inside the main concert hall, it's got a sloped roof, kind of like you would see in an opera house, you know. But they can simulate a round space, a square space, any space, because it's a simulation, a giant simulation. And they had letters cascading all around the sphere. And then the roof slowly slid down and stopped right above the people in the highest level of the grandstands. But it was like a square space at that point, not the website. Zoom. And
It wasn't a site for making your own websites.
It is not a site for making your own websites. And they're also not a sponsor, by the way. So, but I thought it was amazing. It was so cool. I want to go see this. But this is how big this thing is. Some 30,000 people, apparently. Quoted in here is even better than the real thing. But the real star of the video screen enveloping the audience, Las Vegas publicity firms have cried wolf over using the word immersive to describe their new clients' attractions, but the visual accompanying U2's 2-hour show at the $2.3 million venue were truly next level. I think that's not millions, it's billions. $2.3 billion venue.
Right.
This thing is amazing. Anything can be displayed. So one of the pictures that I saw was basically U2 playing in an open air amphitheater kind of a setting with the parking lot in Las Vegas behind it. But that's not what's really there. This is so high resolution. This is inside the stadium, inside the sphere. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and U2 looks like specks on a stage. They look like they're actually on a turntable, but I thought this is amazing. I have to see this. And this is what I want behind me. I want this resolution of panel behind me. But to do something like this is probably $250,000 for that wall. That wall behind me is about 10 feet behind me. And so it's, I'm not sure, the area, I think that space is 8 feet wide. So for me to actually extend it, and my camera is zoomed in. Anyway, I'm rambling because what I want is this behind me. And then
you want the sphere?
I want this
in ohmTown?
Yes. I'm hoping that the lottery hits $2.3 billion. And then I'm going to finance my own sphere in my new house. So during the show, Bono said the band would play a selection from a different album in each show. This was probably why the screen went dark during its 4-song exploration of 1988's Rattle and Hum. So they talked about what the site list was, or the set list, the night set list is. What are you doing? Y'all can't see it.
I'm looking at the set list.
But the AI is concentrating on the set list. Hey, you know what? You should probably grab an old iPhone because U2's album is probably still being sent to people.
Oh, that's right.
That's pretty funny. So the band's 25 show residency, which runs through December 16th, is completely sold out. I can imagine. I think the venue is just amazing. And frankly, the art, to me, it's the tech. The artist is just icing on the cake, but to me, the main the main show is the actual screen. I wish I could go and see it. But trapped in ohmTown. So they had a whole bunch of people there. Matt Damon. Oscar De La Hoya was in there. Wow, LeBron James. Right. All kinds of people. Neil Patrick Harris were there. Wow, okay. Anyway.
I guess it was the place to be.
So the article is actually housed over at casino.org, one of the sources for information for this particular channel, which is Rounders Gear, which is all about equipment for table gaming. So Corey Levitan is the author of this article, and the title again is Stars Pack U2 Debut at Las Vegas Sphere. Can you imagine if they would have hit their budget limit and then they couldn't extend it? Because this thing is twice the cost that it originally intended to be.
But I can't. I mean,
But
It's pretty incredible about the budget to begin with.
they obviously felt that this had legs, and so they just kept pumping money into it.
Well, think
And
how
then
much this is going to draw people to Las Vegas. I
yeah,
mean, people are already drawn to it, but
yeah. Some of the older hotels and stuff are getting a really bad you know, street cred. They're starting to get shabby, and people are going, if you don't find a body underneath your mattress, then it's probably not even a quality hotel. Sorry, the AI is actually going, what? Yeah, I don't know. The ones that are affordable all have like problems. But apparently you don't go there to get a night's sleep. You go there to live the Las Vegas atmosphere. Like that, like from Office Space tchotchkes, you go for the atmosphere and the fun.
right.
All right, anyway, let's keep going. This next article is over in the Marble channel. Earthworms contribute to 6.5% of world grain production, according to a study. I love this stat. I'm not too into the whole earthworms kind of a thing. I grew up with fishing and stuff like that, and as time went on, I'm like, somewhere out there is a large bass that has my very first fishing rod probably still attached to it because it yeeted it right out of my hands. But this here says most gardeners know that earthworms help keep soils healthy. Now scientists have assessed just how important their underground activities are to global food production and how to protect them. The article's over at phys.org. I don't see an author for credit. Kind of a bummer here. In research published Tuesday, scientists found that earthworms may be to thank for more than 6% of global grain yields every year because of their crucial role in soil ecosystems. Worms help to decompose dead plant material, releasing nutrients plants need to grow, and their tunneling helps plant root growth, among other benefits. Evidence suggests that they also help plants protect themselves against common soil pathogens by stimulating their defenses. Yes, I too have my defenses stimulated by things rubbing up against my roots.
I mean, the plants are basically like, oh my god, the earthworms are coming, but then that's actually helping the plants.
Yeah, it's like sitting at a table and a cat rubs up against your leg and you're like, what the? Or maybe bites your toes if you don't feed them fast enough. Researchers writing in the journal Nature Communications analyzed maps of earthworm populations, soil properties, crop yields, and previous studies of plant productivity to estimate the creature's impact on the global production of key crops. They say contribution was defined as the percentage of the yield made possible thanks to earthworms, but really, how do you truly know? Because just because a crop doesn't have the same yield as the crop that has earthworms doesn't necessarily mean that it is that across the board. So I think there's some risk management. Some calculus is definitely involved. So the annual total amounted to more than 140 million metric tons, according to the study. Not bad. Earthworms also contributed 2.3% of global production of legumes, foods that include peas, lentils, chickpeas, soybeans, and alfalfa. I didn't know that alfalfa was a legume.
No, I didn't either.
Interesting. They're very nebulous about it, like authors were and researchers.
Well, I might have said at the end.
Let me see. Oh, no, it doesn't say at the end. Maybe down here. It just says in Stephen Font, earthworms contribute significantly to global food production, but it doesn't say anything about the article.
Yeah.
Like who wrote the actual article. But Stephen is mentioned up here in the article itself. So their contribution may be even larger, said Stephen Font, an associate professor at Colorado State University in the United States who co-authored the study. But they're the only one that's actually named in the article's submission. So weird. Anyway, pretty cool. There you go. Everything over there okay with the AI?
Yes, there was an issue with wires getting crossed in ohmTown.
Got it. Let's go on to the next article. This one is actually rumor. And I'm not too hip to rumors, but I think this one is pretty innocuous, you know. This one's in the Smack Talk channel. Apple Pencil 3 leak claims changeable magnetic tips are on the way. 3rd generation Apple Pencil could use interchangeable tips, a leaker claims. How would you like that as your title? So what do you do for a living? I'm a leaker.
Yeah, that's not good.
Well, you should probably talk to some professional about that. With different magnetic tips used for a variety of different purposes, an Apple Pencil nib is probably featured as an image in this. So let's go over and check it out. Malcolm Owen is the author at appleinsider.com that put this article together, and there isn't a deck statement, but according to a Saturday tweet by serial leaker Majin Buu.
Sounds funnier than just leaker.
That's right, serial leaker. So Majin Buu is on the website formerly known as Twitter. Apple's next iteration of stylus could offer consumers a similar ability to adjust how their Apple Pencil works. In the tweet, Buu's source claims the Apple Pencil 3 will ship with interchangeable magnetic tips. I think that's awesome. So this is the old style Apple Pencil, I believe. That's the impression I'm getting, but I don't know. At any rate, these little things, depending on the surface of your tablet, they wear down, and pretty much anything that creates friction, it'll eventually wear it down. You have to replace them. But people lose them almost immediately because they're tiny.
I was thinking when I look at the picture.
Yeah, they're tiny little things, and I'm not quite sure what the magnetic side of this is going to be, because I can see people twiddling around with their stuff and with their pencil, you know, and like some magnetic tip go flying off. Or
exactly, it's going to be an issue, I think. Some people just lose their pencil altogether.
Yes, they do. And at $100 a pop, it isn't a favorite pastime. So while there are relatively few leaks about 3rd generation Apple Pencil, it's been quite a while since Apple last updated its stylus. Yeah, but if it works, then you don't fix it, and it works just fine. The thing about this is, though, drawing on the tablet on iPad or iPad Pro or iPad Mini, man, that thing is just super slick. And so you have to change your brain if you are a traditional artist, or you buy a little mat that goes over it, right? It just like any other screen protector, except that this one actually creates a paper-like, and I think that's what they call them, paper-like screen protector. And so it creates a little bit of friction, but that little bit of friction increases the wear and tear on those nibs. So invest in these nibs. These magnetic ones are going to have additional production costs, which are going to raise the price. And so I can see that the Pencil 3 is probably going to come in at like $150, which to me is just freaking ridiculous. Maybe they'll swallow that and it'll stay $99. Or $129, but why? In this economy, apparently there's money abound, so everybody can just run out and buy a $150 pencil or a $100 pencil for that matter. Sure, why not? Anyway, I'm not really complaining about the Apple Pencil because once you use it for artwork, you never go back. There is nothing else to go back to. So, what I might be interested in seeing is if Wacom tablets will work with a like an iPad or something like that, where you get additional flexibility because there's macros and stuff like that, and you're not drawing directly on the screen, which can obstruct your view and whatnot. But to me, I say change your work habit and draw directly on the screen of the iPad. Makes life a lot easier. I don't know. You'll figure it out if you're an artist out there. Lots of apps, lots of new gadgets, and now a new Pencil 3 coming to the market. Sounds like fun. Okay, so the AI is like, yep, but not saying it.
I don't use a pencil, so I don't have much expertise in this area.
I know. So the next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Smart glasses need to be stylish to really go mainstream. This is over at The Verge. This is exactly what I've been saying ever since the very first smart glasses, which was Google Glass. Google Glasses were pretty much the first mainstream attempt at smart glasses, and then people were named glass holes because they would wear them in stupid places and do stupid things with them. Well, the closest thing to something approaching stylish, acceptable, mainstream glasses are probably these. It's over at The Verge. Smart glasses need to be stylish to really go mainstream. Victoria Song is the author. The deck statement says the Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses pack a punch of promising updates, including 150 style variations across 2 frames. But that's not enough if people don't dig the look. They're Ray-Bans, so people are going to dig the look. The one thing that's odd about them is that the little hinging area on the where the ear pieces go, it seems a little bit clunkier, and it turns the glasses into a butterfly frame instead of something that is like this, right? So small, compact, inobtrusive, but these actually command people to look at them. So I hope that out of these other styles, this is 2 frames. If they all look like that, I think that they're still a little too big. People don't know.
I mean, they've come a long way, but
yeah,
that's not necessarily going to be enough.
Yeah. So the author says when they first saw the Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses a few weeks ago, they noticed something. In the event space Meta had so carefully prepared, there was a wall showcasing the different frames, colors, and lenses. It was meant to visualize all of the different style options, more than 150 in fact, but standing about 10 feet away, they all blended together, and that bothered the author. I'm not quite sure why. Let's see if they show them, but really it's just 2 frames, but there's different lens types, different colors for the frames. But the lens or the style of it is the exact same, and it is completely within the wheelhouse of Ray-Ban's styling. I don't think anything changed the Ray-Ban styling except these little cameras. It says they look better as sunglasses, but that makes them largely useless indoors. I don't know. Some people wear their sunglasses indoors. I don't know what the full capabilities of these lenses are anymore, or what these glasses are anymore. So I'm probably going to end up doing a deeper dive into this thing, but at $300 a pop, they aren't that expensive in terms of being glasses, being Ray-Ban glasses. People that have prescription lenses the moment you try and get prescription lenses for something like Ray-Ban, you're looking at $400, $500, $600.
Exactly. So this seems like a relative bargain.
And the reason why it's like that is because there's no competition. There's only one company that pretty much produces all lenses. And you're kind of up a creek if you want anything other than them, because every eyeglass shop gets those lenses from that company. In terms of high quality lenses and custom prescription lenses, you're paying this premium price because of lack of
But I
competition.
think the sunglasses aspect is a problem because you cannot wear sunglasses indoors and not attract negative attention from people.
True. Why are you wearing sunglasses inside? See, but if these lenses had the ability to transition like transitions lenses have, but then you're going to be looking at $600 easy. So I don't know. I like the idea of this. I don't like that it's meta. I also don't like a $300 starting price, probably. But they make mention of what I made mention of, which was Google Glass. It says limited style options were a problem that they've had with every pair of smart glasses they've ever worn, from the defunct Focals by North to the Bose frames and nearly every prototype of Google Glass. Their statement is they look like a jabroni in the Bose frames tempo. That's their statement. That's because smart glasses, generally speaking, are tricky to do well. You have to provide a compelling use case, cram in enough tech to make sure that they work well without being uncomfortable, and they have to look good. Well, the way I see it is I would rather buy the X-Real XR glasses. So they used to be called N-Reals. Now they're X-Real, and they attach to whatever device you have, iPhone or Android. They have smart functions. They interact with your electronic device. They throw up a 210 or 120 inch screen depending on the tech that you have at hand. And they look like regular glasses until you get up close to somebody. But they are also tinted lenses. So no matter what. But you can always, I've worn sunglasses inside, and people have asked, why are you wearing sunglasses inside? Although they were associates of mine. And I'll say because my eyes hurt or whatever. Strangers aren't going to really care. You're going to get looks, but if you get these just plain lensed, I think that'll be fine. But then they're unitasks, The most functionality is going to be in the sunglasses category because you're going to be outside and able to interact with information that they provide through the glasses. I still think that the X-Reals are better off. You can get that and its companion little, it's basically a connection to your smart device for $400. And there's going to be greater utility there than I think from these Meta smart glasses. Anyway, let's keep on hustling through these. The next article is over at ohmTown Daily. A thief stole gas worth $3,000 from a filling station by hacking the pump with his phone's Bluetooth, according to a report. Police are investigating the theft of $3,000 of gas at a filling station in Detroit. The store says the pump was hacked using Bluetooth to override the payment system, and it comes after gas prices in the U.S. hit records high this summer.
Okay, so if this is easily done, we have a major problem.
I don't think it's easily done. The article is over at businessinsider.com. I didn't throw it into the chat, so let me throw it into the chat real quick. You would have to know some 0-day flaw. Polly Thompson, I think it's an insider or somebody who knows an insider. Polly Thompson over at businessinsider.com put the article together. It may be a proof of concept for the ability to do this. And they don't have a deck statement, but their little takeaways are the store says that the pump was hacked using Bluetooth to override the payment system. Let's see. The owner named Mo said that it was essentially meant free gas for everyone. They can take as much as they want and allow other vehicles to pump gas as well, since they can do it from 30 feet away or more if they've got a longer antenna. The thief seems to have used Bluetooth to gain control of the gas pump and override its payment system at a Shell station in Detroit's west side. It says a large car can hold... well, they're talking about cars, and I don't really care about that, but they say that they're investigating the incident, but couldn't confirm how they were hacked. We don't know what kind of device was used. Interesting. So they don't really know anything about this. But I would probably think...
I bet they know more than they're letting on, right?
Yeah. Let me see something. Sorry for the dead air. Yeah, I don't know. I suspect that this is somebody utilizing a thing called a Flipper Zero. Yeah. It's basically a multi-tool for pen testing and hacking. And it can do a whole host of things. And at one point it was being used to unlock vehicles and stuff like that. So I would probably suspect that somebody knows something about the point of sale system and some weakness that's in the system, like a backdoor. And how they figured it out, I don't know. But I'm also suspecting that this isn't Bluetooth specific. I think that this is something a little bit more endemic to the infrastructure of the payment systems and transferring information from the pumps. So again, I don't think that it's actually Bluetooth, but we'll see. I find it interesting though.
I also wonder how there was 800 gallons of gas stolen, because that's a lot of pumping time.
Well,
unless it was just like repeated visits or something.
Based on this, they unlocked all of the pumps. It wasn't a matter of them pulling the gas. They unlocked it for everybody that was at the station. I suppose you wouldn't know about it until you started counting. Because it's all electronic payments, you know? So if somebody just shut it all down, unless a manager is sitting there haunting the books, which they really should be doing anyway, you know, hourly checks on what the return on investment is. Yeah, I find it interesting that so much, maybe it's over a longer period of time than we suspect, because it doesn't say, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But also you'd think customers might have said something, because like if it wouldn't accept payment or what, it just seems like things would have been off.
Yeah, or they did, and that's how they discovered that it was giving gas for free. Pretty interesting. All right, let's keep on going. This next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Police find a car owner after a speed camera appeared to show a dog behind the wheel. This one is titled...
You know, we've seen all kinds of weird stops lately, right? The kids driving 200 miles down the highway.
Yep, I love this. We're 6 into it, and I'm missing one. So, let's see. Sorry. Maybe it's that one. Yeah, there we go. So sorry about the data error. This is the article. There you go in chat. So this article here is police find a car owner after a speed camera appeared to show a dog behind the wheel. Let's just go straight on over to the source. So
Okay,
the article,
that's the actual image.
yeah, the image caught by a speed camera appearing to show a dog at the wheel of a Skoda. The article's over at businessinsider.com. Polly Thompson is the author. I wonder what that is, though. That may not be. I guess the dog could be in his lap. Or
maybe the person's not in the driver's seat at all. But then how is the car driving?
Right. The photograph taken by a speed camera in Slovakia appeared to show a dog behind the wheel of the car. Police said the vehicle owner claimed that his dog had suddenly jumped onto his lap. Officers found no evidence to support his claim and issued him a fine. How can they not? No evidence to support his claim. How about the fact that there's a dog sitting in the wheel?
Well, right.
I mean, he's still driving the car safely.
Was the car driving? Well, that's the thing. Was it driving erratically?
Right. It was going 6.8 miles over the speed limit in the village of Staruzi in western Slovakia. Come on, this is silly. Give him a ticket for speeding, sure, but 6.8 miles over the speed limit? Come on. I think that's silly. That's not even reckless. He could have been contending with the dog jumping on, and maybe they should fine him for having the dog free rein.
Right, like distracted driving or whatever.
Yeah. Slovakian police said in a post on Facebook on Friday that the image showed a brown dog sitting obediently behind the wheel of a Skoda, per an English transit. That's not necessarily obedient. It's a speed camera shot. Come on.
Well, it's not jumping up and down. I mean, it's definitely in a still position, but we don't know what was going on.
And it's a still. You have no idea what's going on. However, officers said in the post that there hadn't been any sudden movement in the car and that they fined the man for violating traffic regulations. It's not clear how much he was fined. Anyway, I guess it's actually a still from a video, and there's no evidence that the dog jumped onto his lap because they saw the full video of it. I don't know. It could have been outside the camera's view when it took place. If you're driving, you could come into the view of the camera and suddenly, this video condemns you to a fine. I think it's silly. I'd be miffed, as a dog owner. Man, that dog just cost me X amount of money. But what are you going to do? Well,
Put your dog in a crate when you're driving or whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I would probably make sure my dog is secure before I go driving. Definitely do something like some type of a seatbelt harness that would keep them ensconced in the seat and not in my lap whenever the mood struck them. Oh well, let's keep on going. It's a funny picture though.
How much do you think they were laughing at the police station when they showed that?
They probably couldn't believe it. Hey, there's a dog driving and it got a speeding ticket. Typical, dogs just like to race. So this next article is over in the Mobile Channel. Mysterious antimatter observed falling down for first time in the, pardon me. Sorry about that. And the AI just kind of looked at me. Mysterious antimatter observed falling down for the first time. Let's see if I can say this multiple times here. For the first time, scientists have observed antimatter particles, the mysterious twins.
How many times?
At least 3. Here's the 4th. The mysterious twins of the visible matter all around us falling downwards due to the effect of gravity, Europe's physics lab CERN announced on Wednesday. Daniel Lawler is the author of this over at phys.org. And here are some people that are physicists. I think that's a typo, which is kind of funny. Physicists at CERN use a 25 centimeter long cylinder called Alpha G to observe, I think, antimatter is the name of here. I'll even, to observe antimatter falling down towards or downwards due to gravity. And what I would call this is here are physicists hoping that a black hole just ends it all. Because that was the big fear with firing up, Large Hadron Collider and pretty much anything in physical sciences. It's the end of the world, folks. It's the end of the world.
I think that was a bit wrong, given how long it's been around.
Yeah, just a little bit. Oh, they just haven't gotten to that point yet. It's always the next Wednesday, they're going to create a black hole and destroy the Earth. Now, the experiment was hailed as a huge milestone, although most physicists anticipated the result, and it had been predicted by Einstein's 1915 theory of relativity. It definitely rules out that gravity repels antimatter upwards, a finding that would have been upended our fundamental understanding of the universe. Antimatter, matter falls, antimatter goes up. Sure. It says here, however, there is virtually no antimatter in the universe, which prompted one of the greatest mysteries of physics. What happened to all the antimatter? Quote, half the universe is missing, said Jeffrey Hengst, a member of CERN's Alpha collaboration in Geneva, which conducted the new experiment. And we get a brief news alert from Sheldon from Big Bang Theory saying that, well, I could tell you where all the antimatter is, but then bazinga. Anyway, the rest of the article says, in principle, we could build a universe, everything we know about, with only antimatter, and it would work in exactly the same way, except that antimatter would destroy matter if it ever came into contact with it. So where is this antimatter? They say half.
And why is only the antimatter missing?
Right. Yeah, there's also dark energy somewhere. I don't think that's antimatter. So physicists believe that matter and antimatter did meet and almost entirely destroyed each other after the Big Bang. So what we see is only the matter part, not antimatter part. And there's still enough antimatter out there. I don't know. There's something wrong with this. And I think it's because the simulation just doesn't account for something that might have been a glitch. And now everybody thinks that
it's like Berenstein beer spelled with an A.
Okay, you'll be okay. One of the key outstanding questions about antimatter was whether gravity caused it to fall in the same way as normal matter. Most physicists believe that it did. A few had speculated otherwise. So they built a big old experiment about it and confirmed that it just falls. All right. I'm really curious because I didn't think that it was capable. We were capable of seeing antimatter, but
maybe we're not, but maybe we can measure where it is or something.
Yeah, so it says here one problem was that antimatter barely exists outside of rare short-lived particles in outer space. However, in 1996, CERN scientists produced the first atoms of antimatter, antihydrogen. Another challenge was that because matter and antimatter have an opposite electrical charge, the moment that they meet, they destroy each other in a violent flash of energy. Scientists call annihilation.
That's rather dramatic.
Yeah, overactor. So it says here around 80% of the antihydrogen went out of the bottom, which is a similar rate to how regular bouncing hydrogen atoms would behave if they were in the bottle. So this result, published in the in the journal Nature. I flipped the entire sentence. Published in the journal Nature shows that gravity causes antimatter to fall backwards, as predicted by Einstein's 1915.
It falls downwards, not backwards.
Downwards. My God, what is going on? Anyway, let me re-say that whole thing. This result, published in the journal Nature, shows that gravity causes antimatter to fall downwards, as predicted by Einstein's 1915 theory of relativity. Okay, I'll be okay. This is why I have the sentient AI keeping tabs on me. Otherwise, I don't know. Maybe I'll just go full on Chat GPT on y'all and just spew out complete garbage. Other attempts to better understand antimatter include using CERN's Large Hadron Collider to investigate strange particles called beauty quarks. Not the quarks from Deep Space Nine. They've got a bunch of stuff.
I've never heard of a beauty quark. Like
yeah, that's a new one to me. Yeah, there's a lot of quarks out there. So, since both should have annihilated each other completely in the early universe, the fact that we exist suggests that there is something we don't understand going on, he added. He being physicist Harry Cliff, which is kind of like a description and I guess also a name. I've said too much. The next article is over in the Mobile Channel. Kansas police chief suspended after raid on local newspaper. This is something that we've been following over the various months of the show. So let me just jump straight over to the source. Let me pause that because the headline... the headlines don't have anything to do with that particular... The video doesn't have anything to do with the headline. Lauren Irwin over at The Hill put the article together. Kansas police chief suspended after raid on local newspaper. This actually comes after the newspaper and reporters were doing an investigation into the local mayor of the city and the police chief and conflicts of interest and certain treatment of certain people. The mayor apparently, or someone in the administration, managed to get the police chief to raid various people from the newspaper, including Vice Mayor Ruth Erbel, the home of the publisher Eric Mayer, and others apparently. But they said that it was that the reporter had committed identity theft, alleging in previously unreleased court documents that the reporter impersonated someone or lied about her intentions when she obtained the driving records of a local business owner. But that's not necessarily illegal. That's called pretext. Investigators do it all the time. People do it all the time. And unless you are a state official, a police person, an attorney, etc., there's only certain caveats. I can lie until the ethical compass sets itself on fire. But this isn't necessarily a justification for doing, a home invasion to try and freak somebody out. And that's what it was. And it was all because they needed these driving records because it had to do with I think it was the mayor, right? They have this labeled as Vice Mayor Ruth Erbel, but I think that's not Vice Mayor. That's, I think, the Vice President of the newspaper.
The specifics of it.
Yeah, I think it's the Vice President of the newspaper. Or maybe
they went to the home of the reporter.
Yeah.
And the
reporter's
mother died because of this incident.
Exactly. Yeah, the stress.
That's the allegation, anyway.
Yeah, she was elderly, but apparently of well enough health at the time that they wouldn't have died. But the stress that this raid imposed on her may have led to her demise. So shocking, but I guess where there's smoke, there's fire, and the Kansas police chief suspended after raid on local newspaper. Talk about abuse of power. None of these people should ever hold public office again if the facts hold out as presented in various reportings. Let's keep going. This next article is over in the Continuity Report. Star Trek's new Betazoids show how different Troy is. And they do a really good job of setting this up that we might talk about spoilers from the latest episode of Lower Decks, Season 4, Episode 5, Empathological Fallacies. And this is kind of one of this is one of the shows where I want to do a show about this show. And so I'm going to jump straight on over to the source. Mark Donaldson is the author. I watch these every time they're on. I might actually watch it a couple of times because you always miss something. But I love this stuff. And I have the context of watching the previous series entirety, from original series all the way up until Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, I think you can watch Lower Decks if you don't have Star Trek history, but you're missing a lot of references.
Yeah, it definitely makes the cookie chewier if you have a history, a context that you can riff off of. This in particular, the article is over at ScreenRant.com. Mark Donaldson is the author. The deck statement says Star Trek's 3 new characters follow in the grand tradition of Luoxana Troi, meaning that TNG's Deanna Troi is a very different type of betazoid. So betazoids are empathic persons. They can feel emotions, and in an excited state, they can cast off emotions. And so can Vulcans. And so what ended up happening in this is 3 betazoids are supposed to be transferred from one place to another. And suddenly the whole crew breaks out doing things that are untoward their normal behavior. I need to throw something into the chat. 1 second. And the thing about this is that the 3 betazoids are having a good old time. But Deanna Troi never did, or Deanna, depending on who you were at the time, whichever way the wind blows. Deanna Troi and Deanna Troi are the same person, but people would say her name differently regularly. So it says, introduced in Star Trek The Next Generation, the betazoids are an empathic species. It says empathetic. Okay.
I don't think that's right.
Yeah, I think it's empathic. Species which made Troi an ideal ship's counselor aboard the USS Enterprise D. An empath, Troi was a shoulder to cry on for many of the TNG colleagues, from Dr. Beverly Crusher to her most challenging case, Barclay, who, was a handful. Well, anyway, Luoxana Troi is Deanna Troi's mom. And she, one of her most notable episodes was she was getting married, and they get married naked. Everybody has to be naked. Anyway, the whole show with her is she's extravagant and bombastic and straightforward and fun-loving. And Deanna Troi was much starchier, much more down to earth, kind of dry white toast, kind of a person, at least publicly, right? But I mean, she started going out with Worf, so I don't know, what goes on behind closed doors. That makes more sense if you listen to the Greatest Generation podcast, by the way. Anyway, going through this episode, I was like, wow, they're actually kind of pumping up betazoids as being partiers, because they were walking around with yard-long drinks and just pounding them down again and again and again and having a good time.
But wasn't that a cover also?
It was a cover, but they were still fun-loving betazoids, because the cover was being a normal betazoid. they ended up being internal affairs. But they started out as your typical, everyday, fun-loving betazoids on the way back to their home world. And, well, you can't be your average, everyday, undercover betazoid and then act like a party girl or person. If that's supposed to be your cover and it's not the normal behavior of a betazoid, right? So I thought that was really interesting. And then I heard, because I listened to other people's podcasts after I watched this show, after I watched Lower Decks, and they detected that and were talking about it. And now this one is talking about it as well. So it's a lot of fun. If you are interested in this kind of stuff, then you definitely want to go over and watch or read Screen Rant. You definitely want to download the Greatest Generation podcast, which is all about Star Trek, the Next Generation. Well, actually, all of them. They every once in a while throw in other episodes, but they're covering both the Next Generation right now. I think it's Next Generation still that they're on, and Lower Decks. They'll also do things like Strange New Worlds when it comes back and whatnot. Anyway, yeah, eventually in this article, they talk about Troy's romance with Worf. So it says it was a jarring addition to Star Trek The Next Generation's final season, but perhaps her rejection of Betazoid hedonism could explain it, because he was very serious. Even if I think that he was an ineffective security officer, he ended up dating Troy. Ultimately, though, Troy ends up with Riker. So this was a weird relationship that nobody ever saw coming. Anyway, that's it for that. Let's go on to the next article. The last article is in the Marble channel, and I think that y'all get a kick out of this. Because if you are allergic to synthetic red colors, there actually is a natural colorant out there, but it's wildly expensive apparently and not really well known or available. This red dye was so valuable it built cities. One family in Mexico is still making it the old way. And just like the last article, I can say it 15 times because it's in the deck statement, it's in the snippet, it's on the title. One family in central Mexico is struggling to preserve the production of cochineal.
How many families?
One. What did I say?
I was just harping on the repetitiveness
Oh,
of the text statement.
I'm sorry.
Already. You were supposed to just repeat like one family. And
One
I'd be
family.
like, where?
One family. One family. In Mexico. In central Mexico, just to be accurate and precise. It's an intense natural red dye, so prized that after gold and silver, it was probably the most valuable thing that the Spaniards found in Mexico. Let's go over to the source. It's an AP article, apnews.com. It's in their world news category, and Fernanda Pesci is the author. Koch, I guess, Mexico. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. This article has a video, and you really do need to watch the video. So I'm gonna hit play, and we'll watch it for a little bit, and I'm gonna jump forward just so that you can see what goes on. So they're brushing these little piles of something off of cacti. Or cactuses, what's the plural? Cacti?
Yes.
And what's in them, in these little pods, are insects. And the female ones apparently have a red colorant. They get dried out in the sun. They grind them up. And this makes a certain style of red dye that was basically known for being royal, like Europeans purple. This is, I guess, Mexico's red. And it's this little insect in this pod that creates a dusty little coating, and then they sit there by hand and flake them off these these cactus, what are those called? Cactus leaves? Cactus, I don't know what.
Yeah, it looks like a punch a cactus or something, because they're the round
Yeah.
ones.
So it says, for centuries, red clothing along with purple had been a sign of power and wealth because it was rare and expensive. Purple actually was made with lead or mercury, and it led to the idea of the Mad Hatter being crazy because of mercury poisoning. An indigenous Mexican process deriving the pigment from insects gave the Spanish Empire a new source of red dye. Some of Mexico's most picturesque and imposing colonial cities like Oaxaca, were essentially built on the wealth derived from cochineal dye, also called carmine, and known as grana cochinilla in Spanish. It was much prized by the Spanish nobility, and it would go on to dye, among other garments, the British Empire's red coat military uniforms before it began to be replaced by synthetic dyes in the 1800s. What's interesting, though, is that you may not be allergic to this red dye, but you're allergic to synthetic reds. Some of which have actually been outlawed, replaced with other synthetics that aren't as vibrant, aren't as cheap, etc. So I thought it was a really interesting article that I would highlight here in ohmTown. But they're not able to make a living off of this, so they actually sell fruit on the side. But I can see that if they were to be able to mass produce this faster, then it would be the natural colorant for various things. They say
Right,
that
I think there'd be a large market for it, but maybe they don't have enough scale, or it's not able to be stabilized or preserved. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's because it can't be produced cheaply. At their greenhouse, rows of hundreds of cactus pads are held on racks suspended in the air and covered by a white powder. That's a sign of the insect working beneath, drawing nourishment from the juices of the nopal, and protecting themselves with the waxy powder. Pretty cool. They basically take it off of those cactus pads and then grind them up. So I wonder why they wouldn't. They can produce technology that can kind of just pull both sides of the cactus pads off, and it gets brushed into something, and then you just grind it up. But I guess there's a lot of babysitting. But they say that they've tried to automate a little bit, make it less manual work with machinery that they tried to invent, but they may not have the resources to make that technological leap from something that is, just a granular increase.
Right, because this isn't a large scale operation. So
yeah, they make 220 pounds of cochineal dye that they produce a year, though they're trying to diversify into soaps, creams, cosmetics, and other products derived from the nopal, such as jam, which is interesting. So this is something that I'm interested in simply because it's a natural colorant, although it's still processed. I'm really curious if any research has shown that this is natural to the point where you're not going to be made sick by it, because I know people that are allergic to red dye. And anaphylactic shock from red dye is much more troublesome for people, because you ingest it and it basically becomes pervasive. It isn't like a skin rash or something, so it kind of lays you low. So it says, we are having problems with synthetics and chemicals, she said. So I think that there is a revolution going on of returning to what was once produced, because it kept us much healthier. And I agree. Although it is coming from tiny bugs and people might have a problem with it, you might want to look at the drinks you're drinking, because your colorant in that might actually come from a bug shell right now. You just don't know it.
Yes, surprise.
So when they talk about everybody eats, 5.8 spiders in a year, first off, that's actually bunk. That's not true. But if you are eating bugs, it's because scientists have done enough research to determine that it's a colorant or a flavorant or something. And now you're doing it. So you're eating bugs. Ew, bug eaters. Ew. Do you want to see anything else about this?
No, I mean, I wish we saw more of this, but I suspect a lot of these traditional products are probably being lost with generational change technology.
Yep. I mean, like farming, for instance. We've talked about this before, because we know some farmers that either have orchards or actual farms, which, I mean, to me, it's one and the same, just one is closer to the ground. What's going on is that is some rough trade. You have to get up early. It's backbreaking work. It's very expensive with the equipment. It's laborious, right? Well,
one bad winter, summer, etc. can ruin all your crops.
Yep, and you have to pick up the pieces still. The work is still there, and then you have to recover from that bad, climate change impacted production. So you don't get as much that year, and if you didn't play your cards right, invest it right, you're basically down and out. Well, what would you rather do? Be sent to school and get a bachelor's degree or up to a master's degree, and work for a company doing what you would normally be doing for your family, but you're doing it for a mega corporation that has acquired all of its land through mergers and acquisitions, and you're making $200,000 a year without any of the struggle. You're working 9 to 5, if that. And you can do gig work on the side, if you go into programming, engineering, all kinds of stuff. It's a whole lot better economically, unless your intent is to grow your farm. And if you've ever talked to anybody in the food industry, it's similar to that, because you're working on razor thin margins, and you have to have a ton of 5, 6, 7 restaurants to be really filthy rich, unless your restaurant happens to cater to extremely lucrative customers. Nowadays, hell, McDonald's is lucrative.
Everything seems to be lucrative. Not as a consumer, though.
Yeah, exactly. So that's it for today. I think that you would be interested in this stuff that we've presented today. So I hope you go back and look at the show notes, look at the VOD over on Twitch, come over to YouTube. It's typically getting posted the next morning, although sometimes I get it done within an hour, depending on how much work I'm doing. So be sure to go over to YouTube, follow us there, ring the bell, subscribe. It's a podcast over on Apple and everywhere else, but on Apple, I'm directly integrated into its review system. So if you leave a 5-star review, I will read your review live on the show as soon as I'm informed that there's a review. And there's a Discord and a Patreon. Yes, there's a TikTok.
Don't say it so begrudgingly.
There's a TikTok too. All right. Anyway, kind of like one of those bus rides through Hollywood. we bring you all the way back to Main Street, and then we show you that, hey, if you click that sign right there, you get a whole bunch more news.
By the way, I have a news update that has not made it into ohmTown yet.
Okay.
It looks like the shutdown will be averted.
For 45 days.
For 45 days, and then we'll do this again.
Oh, did you hear that clanking sound? That's the can being kicked down the road so wingnuts can get more foothold. Anyway. Oh, right here. Dum-dum-dum. That's actually right at the top.
Senate actually just passed it minutes ago.
Yeah. So, got a whole lot of news. Oh gosh, the John Wick Chapter 4 pitch meeting. Those are really funny over on YouTube if you want to watch the video version of that. Let's see. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. 13 Ghosts. Let's see. A gaming headset that delivers quality and comfort from Razer. The Kyra Pro Hyperspeed. All right. There's a bunch of stuff, folks. Go and check it out. So I'm going to bring us all the way back up, and I'm going to say thank you very much for hanging out and chat and watching the videos over on YouTube or in the VODs here on Twitch, and I'll say good night. So I am Mayorwatch. That is ohmTown.com, and up there is the AI that keeps me on track. You want to say, let's see. You want to say bye?
Bye.
Did you want to say
Night,
anything else?
ohmTown citizens. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Take care, everybody. Have fun and have a good weekend. See you tomorrow, 8 p.m. Bye-bye.